it's really cool and interesting seeing how the entire Australian hip hop scene has like evolved, because for a long, long time, in terms of people getting any shine, it was like only like you and the people around you. So it was only like Cursor, Rates, Jay, and then Forte, and then a few others from Sydney, and then there was you, and then there was Complete and the people around Complete from Perth. And that was like, from someone who wasn't like a full Oz hip hop nerd, those were like the main people. But now it's like diversified and become so incredibly popular, and all of the new guys are like blowing up as well. Like what are your thoughts on how it's changed? Because when I first got into it, so you'd been doing it for many years when I first got interested in it in like 2012. But when I liked it, it was for people who weren't fans of it. It was lame, and you would get made fun of, and people would laugh at it, and people would share it as a joke. But now I've seen it, like, it's becoming cool. The entire genre is like becoming cool. And even if you don't like it, you at least go, oh, but they're doing their own thing. Like before, if you didn't like it, you would ridicule it and hate on it. But now it's kind of entering this new stage of acceptance, and even like mainstream popularity with like all with 1-4 and the HP Boys and Hooligan Hefs and all of these Islander guys that are blowing up. I never thought it would have been the Islanders that would have made like Oz hip hop cool to like everyone.
It's interesting because I mean, like, there's still like there's a generation before me, which is, you know, Hilltop Hoods, and those guys, like, I mean, it's interesting that 1-4 have now got the international representation, I guess, and
well, they just did a fucking track with ASAP Ferg, like that for me to think of that happening, for like, because they're huge, but they're still coming up in their own right. So for an American rapper to work with Australians that are coming up, that was like so not possible even a few years ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, Cursor had the track with Future, and you know,
that's true. I might be talking out my ass here.
No, that's all right. Like, and it's at the end of the day, we've all got perspectives, you know, and I've been around long enough to see a bit of perspective of what Australian hip hop was before I came along, and it was still like, I mean, yeah, Hilltop Hoods. Like, a lot of Australian hip hop came through and started getting serious in the late 90s. There was a compilation album called Culture of Kings, which had all the rappers that were getting busy from around the country on it. And that was like the first ever Oz hip hop compilation sort of thing. And Hilltop Hoods were on there. And if you look at all the names on those CDs, it came down to who was working the hardest at pushing themselves to a high level in the music industry that have made it from that generation. You know what I mean? And like, I know like a lot of these guys are doing big numbers on the net, but Hilltop Hoods are still selling more tickets and CDs than any other artist in the country, you know? And some people might not see, you know, based on their perspective might see that not in the same category as 1-4, but it's definitely, it's Australian hip hop, and it's evolved, you know, more and more and more. And there were always like some Polynesian and Islander fellas in the scene, but they definitely, the scene, I guess, was a lot more smaller then and the majority was white Australians, you know?
Yeah.
And that's still like, I even feel a bit weird saying that, because there's always been fellas from all different backgrounds in Australian hip hop, you know? But I guess when you look at the big level success sort of side of it, it was like Hilltop Hoods, Bliss and Esso, even like early days was Muffin Platonic, all those sort of guys that kept evolving and pushing it bigger. But it was still caught in mainstream Australian music, where the audience was mainly aimed at the whole kind of the white aspect, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, there's for me, and I probably, this is probably just because I don't know the people beyond when I first got interested in it, because I was so young. For me, it was like, it seems to have gone in waves, where like wave one was like Hilltop, Listen SO, and then that was like very much like radio industry, get picked, buy a really good hook, insert bars in between the chorus, and then you've got yourself a banger. That's like illy and stuff, you know, buy a chorus, fill it. It's like, you know, coloring in basically, but rap. And then the second wave was like your gen of like more street stuff, which was like just come up on your own and doing like real shit, like what you would have heard the Americans kind of do, like making real street stuff, but you had to do it outside of the industry, which is why I gravitated towards it so much, because that's what I wanted to do with my comedy, like real shit that was for people, not for executives to put me in front of people. It was just like, oh, I want to do my thing and what I think is true to me and what I think is good. That seems like your gen was like the second wave to me as someone who was 18 when they got into it. And then now it seems like it's like this third wave that has come because of all of the roads that were paved for the first two. Now it seems like young kids are just like doing one song and getting a million views. And that's from, you know, Spotify being so important, and then being able to blow up on YouTube and being able to pay someone $100 to hold a camera and make an amazing film clip from their bedroom and stuff. It seems like now it's so open to anyone to kind of do anything, which is good, but is also has negatives of like, you might have people that are doing it to capitalize on how seemingly easy it is rather than because they want to become it.
Oh yeah, 100%. There was definitely a wave of people that rapped that weren't rappers. You know, like even kids in America, like, I just want to sell Xanax, so I'll write a song about it, and then it blows up on Spotify and they're a rapper. You know, but yeah, that's a very good way to put it. Like, I was kind of a part of the second wave, and when we were coming up with, it's like you either had to fit into the industry box of what they were doing, or you weren't allowed in, and that's where Curse had changed the game. And you know, he was one of the first people to get mainstream level success without industry backing, and you know, and he definitely changed and opened the doors for a lot of guys that are coming through now. But I think the new movement is great. I think that hip hop is, you know, for everyone, and I think it's fucking awesome to see people from different backgrounds empowering themselves through music and through creating. You know, there's a lot of people that get jealous of how easy it is these days, but I think it's a positive thing. I mean, I think everyone should have a chance to tell their story. And in the past, let's say in the 90s, there's whole generations of different people with different backgrounds that never got to tell their story because they didn't fit into that little fucking box, you know?
And also because I get that from my side of, like, you know, blowing up online, people think that it's easy, and it's like, it's not easy. It's just different. And also because it's the internet, essentially, I mean, you can do it too. Like, nothing stops you from doing the same thing, doing a film clip, putting something on Spotify, and then it bangs, you know? It's like
100%.
It's just different. And I'm sure, like, you know, what I think is easy is doing whatever you're told and ticking the right boxes, and then someone in a suit goes, all right, you're famous, do what I say, you'll be a millionaire. To me, that seems pretty easy to me. It's like everything has its own struggle, I suppose. And the grass is always greener. You know, I look at mainstream guys and I go, oh, that's fucking easy. But I bet they look at me and go, oh, that's fucking easy. He just makes a video once a week. You know,
100%.
It's always been like that, of people looking at other people, not 100% understanding it and going, oh, I could do that if I wanted. It's like, yeah, you probably couldn't.
Yeah, straight up, man. That grass is greener thing is always the case, I think. Especially in any sides of any sort of, whether it be music, comedy, or, you know, different genres of performance or creation. But yeah, I think the new age is great.